Hello everybody, this is Chris, MTGO's Rec Start, and I'm going to show a match replay. This is my sliver deck, the Esper Counterslivers versus Kumagoro's black-green mid-range deck. He's got some ramp elements in here too, pernicious deeds, as you'll see. Just a quick refresher, the deck here is Esper Counterslivers, Crystalline Sliver, Hibernation Sliver, some spot removal, free counter magic, Brainstorm, and a couple of mutafaults, fairly standard here. Winged Sliver, which is going to be key against the walls that Kuma's going to be throwing up against me. So let's see how this match plays out. I go ahead and keep this. It's got a Crystalline Sliver, it's got some removal. It's not awesome, but it does have a Brainstorm. I may be able to get into something, so I go ahead and hang on to this. Kuma leads on a Colony Garden. I draw a second Brainstorm. I go ahead and throw out the Plated Sliver here. He's got a Vine Trellis. The Vine Trellis is going to be a nice blocker there. I'm going to need to look for a Winged Sliver if I'm going to start getting in for big damage against him. Alright, now I've ripped a fetch land, and so I know I can use my Brainstorm and fetch land to start hunting for what I need, and here I definitely need a Winged Sliver. I go ahead and just hold open, figuring I'll probably Brainstorm fetch here. Now he casts Pernicious Deed, which I definitely don't want to resolve, so I'm going to go ahead and Brainstorm right now in order to hunt for a Force of Will. I did not get there. I did find a Hibernation Sliver, however. And I decide to shuffle away a couple cards there at the end of turn. Path to Exile, not a huge help right now. Getting in for a little bit of damage. Throwing the Hibernation Sliver down right there to force him to pop the deed, because of course if the Hibernation Sliver resolves, then I can bring my Crystalline Sliver back to hand, or any that I want in response to his blowing the deed makes it considerably worse. So he goes ahead and blows that right now in order to make sure that I don't get to do that. And he's slowly building up his mana. He gets up to 5 and plays a Vulturous Zombie, which is a 3/3 flyer, and any card put into my graveyard from anywhere gets bigger. That can certainly get quite big in a deck that's playing a lot of fetch lands and instants and things like that. But I go ahead and daze it, because I didn't know if I would have another opportunity to daze anything in his deck. Although in hindsight, I probably could have just blown it up with a Swords or a Path. Now I go ahead and get in for some damage here, even though I did draw the Winged Sliver, because I did not need the Winged Sliver that turn. So I just used the mana to go in with the Mutavault. Now he's up to 6. He's got a ground blocker, but here comes the Winged Sliver, and I'm going to make the Mutavault active and beat in for 4. Now he's going to putrefy the Hibernation Sliver. And I decide not to save it there because I had another one in hand, but he goes ahead and putrefies the Winged Sliver as well. And I get down another Hibernation Sliver, and I'm going to beat in with the Mutavault and start emptying my hand of slivers here. And now he's going to go to 10, and this is where it gets interesting, because I've got essentially 5 power on the board, and so if I can get in with all my guys a couple of times, I'm going to be able to put him away. But I see here he's got a Avenger of Zendikar, so I have to get very lucky here, because I'm not getting in for enough damage to beat him if I don't get a Winged Sliver. But lo and behold, I top decked a Winged Sliver. I don't even remember if I put that back there with the Brainstorm. I don't think I did. I think I just got lucky. And go ahead and activate the Mutavault and swing in for 5. Now I take a bit of a chance here, because I did the math at the time, and if he ripped a land, I think I could still chump block something, or I could then decide to kill the Avenger of Zendikar and still live, even though his guys would then all be 2 power. But if he ripped a fetch land, I guess I would have had... He would have been able to pump his army enough. So if he'd ripped a fetch land, when he played the fetch land, in response to his using the fetch, I would have had to remove the Avenger of Zendikar at that point in order to prevent these guys from all going to 3/3. So I think I could have lived through this turn either way, but I decided not to get rid of that Avenger and take the risk that he's going to have a huge beefy army here, because my plan is just beat him down and take him out on this turn. and he's drawn a Putrefy, and that allows him to reduce the size of my aerial attack to 4, which should have done it. But again, top decking like a champ. Here comes a Sinew Sliver, and you know, again, there, like I told him, I had a few outs there. I could have got a Frenzy Sliver. I could have got there I had 4 Sinew Slivers left. I could have brainstormed into one. So I mean, it's not all that unlikely, but certainly a very timely top deck there, and shows the value of the evasion and the lords in the deck. And Mutavault doing some excellent work there. Now Kuma had made a mistake. I believe it was in a previous game where he used a blue at Pernicious Deed at a time when he wouldn't have if he'd remembered that it would hit Mutavaults that are active, and so remember that one too as well. So anyways, that's it for the videos this week. I hope you enjoyed them, and I'll see you next week.